Hello, it's not about me, it's about tracks and Mary.
And I'm a nature guide here at Humboldt Redwood State Park. Some people call me an interpreter. Anyway, if you've been following me, you know this is a series about finding and learning how to read animal tracks and animal signs. I'm going to start this one out with a little story about me. Kind of mildly embarrassing, but I'm learning to share. Anyway, last year, some people came knocking at my door. Some people who live here at the park, volunteers, kind of all excited because they thought there might be a mountain lion track right outside their door where the people live here. And for some reason, they thought I would know what it was. Well, I didn't know what it was because I hadn't embarked upon this adventure yet. This was last year, remember? But I thought I'd pretend to be all, I'm supposed to know. So I walked out there all important with my little track book, looked at this muddy track that was kind of squished up in the mud, and it was big. And that's about all I knew. And I just looked and I couldn't figure anything out. So if I knew then what I know now, and it would have been simple, I think, I hope. So I'm going to show you all the tips, most of which, as usual, I got from Kim Cabrera, the bear tracker, at her website with really cool information and photographs. And she also has a really cool quiz, so you can tell what's a real dog track versus mountain lion track. So I definitely advise you to check it out. I did. So let's get started. I kind of tried to make like a little guide. I thought maybe I could spell something that would make me remember. I couldn't quite do it. Yeah, something like that. But we're going to go through these. Maybe someone else can figure out how to arrange these. Anyway, I made two tracks right here. Griff could zero in on those. So the first is C for claws. Now, mountain lions, actually, they both have claws. Mountain lions and dogs, you say, which is true. But one of those families typically doesn't show the claw, and one does. Can anyone, I'll give you a few seconds. Kim, you can't answer, to tell me which family, the cat family or the dog family, would show their claws and why. Just a few seconds for you to kind of think about it. I don't know. Tick tock, tick tock. Well, I'll let you know. So, yes, they both have claws, but dogs cannot retract their claws. Cats can. So, usually you will not see claw marks for a cat. So, if you even have a little kitty at home, you notice that when it wants to, it can retract those claws, except when it's trying to wake you up or try and get dinner. All right, and the dog cannot, so you typically will see those, but not always, not always. That's why it is so important not to rely on just one of these things. That's why it's important to know several to look at. These should get you through it, though. The next is O for overall shape. So if you drew a line around the outside of a mountain lion track, it's kind of shaped like a circle, like that. And let me just stick that there. It's really windy, that's why I'm trying to tuck things in. And if you draw a shape around the dog tract, it's more like an oval or a maple leaf. I couldn't draw a maple leaf, but we happen to be under a maple tree. So if that was bigger, that's the shape of a maple leaf. So like I say, there are different types of breeds of dogs, and they might have an oval or a maple leaf shape. All right, that's the second one. So third one, S, symmetry of toes. So I have these handy dandy guides. The dog toes are very symmetrical, very balanced.
Oh.
Oops, symmetry. So if you put a line across the two inner toes and the two outer toes, look how parallel and perfect they are. And if you drew a line along the two front toes, sort of you get a tic-tac-toe board, right? Perfectly symmetrical. Now the cat family has a leading toe. So those two inner toes, they're not, you would cut off part of that leading toe. So if you were to put a line, it was more like this, and then like this, and then sort of like that. So everything's a bit wonky like that. So that would be cat family. So that one is really, really helpful. I've used that a lot. But it's kind of cool that they have that leading toe, because it could tell you which side it is, a right foot or a left foot. So if you associate their paw with our hand, that leading toe, well, I'll just point to it, is the third finger. So the dew claw, the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the dew claw wouldn't show. So this one with this leading toe would be a right paw. So that's kind of cool with the cat family. All right, next, where are we? Toe shape. Toe shape. So if you look at the dogs, definitely kind of an oval toe shape with the, oops, there that goes. The side toes a little more triangular, but look at that oval right there. Now, come over here to the cat. Definitely pointier. See that point? Definitely a pointier toe. All right, let's move on.
Would you say teardrop shaped or?
Yes, Griff, I would. Teardrop shape. Or in my lingo, pointier. But yeah, thank you for that. Kim's probably saying teardrop shape, right?
I felt it telepathically. That's what she was saying.
So I felt a little, I felt her vibration. She's like, oh, Mary, I thought I trained you so well. All right, okay, let's go for the foot pad lobes, or the metacarpal pad, the leading edge. If you look at this, if you're getting the right angle on it, Griff, it actually has 2 lobes. See that? Whoop, whoop, like that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you look at the dog over here, it's got 1 lobe, and it can actually look kind of like a triangle. So, definitely a good characteristic to check out. Now, where are we? Okay, foot pad size. And by foot pad, I'm talking about this big metacarpal pad. Now, how many of these cat toes do you think you could fit into that metacarpal pad, Griff?
Well, at least 2 and maybe even 3.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big pad.
I would go with that. Let's look at the dog. Look how much smaller that pad is compared with the toes. So how many dog toes, like, after you stuck that toe in there, how many other toes do you think you could fit in?
Not a full one.
Yeah, so big difference there, big difference there. And then the last one we're going to talk about is negative space. So N. So that's everything that isn't the impression of the toes or the pads. So I'm going to need my little colored things again. So this is the negative space right here. So not the pads or the toes. So if you were to draw a line around it, it's kind of like a C. Just like that. Everyone kind of see that shape. This is classic. This has really helped me out a lot. Now for the dog, remember it's very symmetrical. So you can actually do more like a cross. Now in some dogs, you could actually do what would be more like a weird kind of H. It kind of goes like that. I don't know if I could do this. I'd need a third hand. Third hand. But let's see. Well, kind of like that, and then with the 2. Okay, well, kind of like a weird H. And we'll leave it at that. Now, if you're wondering what the last one and that's when they push, the pads push out a little bit of material and make kind of a raised area for the dog. Now, these I didn't make with, real animals didn't make this, so that's not going to happen. So you can't really see that there. And that's pretty much it. So let's go back then. Oh, wait. Before we move on, remember I said Kim Cabrera had some cool quiz games on her website. This is a great one that I got off of there. So look, it's like totally smushed, but I think from what we learned, you could actually tell what it was. So, do we see claw marks? Griff, do we see claw marks?
I think so.
Yes, I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is mush, but what else can you see? What shape is this?
It's kind of ovalish.
Yeah, a lot more oval and not pointy, but not really teardrop shape, right? Teardrop. It's more oval. And then the last thing, at least I can make out, you can see the leading edge of that metacarpal pad, even though the rest is kind of squished out because he slipped on the mud. And looks to me like a single lobe versus that double lobe of the cat family.
Mm-hmm.
So even though this is kind of messed up, because we knew more than one characteristic, we're able to identify this pretty much as a dog.
Awesome.
Now that brings me back to my story, my slightly embarrassing story of, hey, Mary, and I said, well, yeah, it could be a mountain lion track, and I put sticks around it and a little hazard tape. I'm like, okay, we'll check on this later, and everyone was kind of all a Twitter for a while. Well, it was a few hours, but the beast that made that track was actually found, and I have him here today as a guest speaker, so to speak. And I think it's time to bring him in. All right, release the Kraken. Let's see who made that. Who made that track that everyone thought for a short amount of time was a mountain lion. So this is Mountain Mo.
Mountain Mo.
Now he's Mountain Mo. And so you can see how his paws definitely. Come here.
Mountain Mo.
Say hi. Say hi, Mountain Mo. You can see how he could be the size of a mountain lion, unless you know those distinguishing characteristics. And then you know, no, not a mountain lion in your yard last night. It was just Mountain Mo. So unless Griff has a few words to say, in closing, that's about it for today, and hope to see you next week.
Have a great week.